Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 15, Episode 8, The Calm Before the Storm. What does that mean? Could they be referring to Shannon Storms Bedore? Don't know. Oh no, probably not. Probably the pandemic. Ugh. All right, let's get into it. As usual, we are picking up where we left off last week. That seems to be the norm now, doesn't it? Like every episode seems to be a to be continued. If you recall, last week we left Elizabeth in the pool. Your husband's in the pool. Kelly just pushed her in because she was talking too much about her ex-husband. Anyway, they're all walking away now, leaving the pool area, and Kelly said, "I got an appointment at the house. Who wants to go with me?" I'm thinking, appointment at the house? So apparently, Kelly has planned a tour of the Albert Frey house. Albert Frey is an architect, and his style is sort of mid-century modern. Kelly, in her confessional, tells us that she's a real history buff. That is the last thing I would have accused Kelly of being, a history buff. Anyway, they're going on a tour of his house, and I love it. In fact, I am sitting in front of his house right now because, need I say more? It's gorgeous. It's a little Frank Lloyd Wright-esque. This is gorgeous, and it has a little bit of the same feel to me. Anyway, Braunwyn and Elizabeth are joining Kelly. Emily, Gina, and Shannon have opted to go on a hike. Wherever they're hiking in Palm Springs there is also quite beautiful. As you might imagine, we're going to be going back and forth between these two sets of women and their conversations. The hikers are trying to piece together all the stories that Elizabeth has told and how nothing is matching up. And now I just got more interested in Elizabeth. The story she told Gina was she was a jazz singer, had no money. Her soon-to-be ex-husband walked into the club she was singing at. This is the story she has kind of told us in her confessionals, too. She started singing Big Spender to him. He loved it. The rest is history. Shannon says she told me that he asked her to marry him, but he was already married at the time. Then we see a flashback, and Gina asked her about that, and she said, "Oh, he did, but he was going through a divorce at the time," which may or may not be true. Then Shannon said, she told me they were together for 20 years, yet they're only married for 5 years? And then Emily goes, I don't understand Jimmy. Yeah. There are some stories there, and I hope we eventually get to find out what they are. Everything I've been hearing is that Elizabeth is a one-season wonder, so we may never get to the bottom of it, but I am liking that she's got some complicated web going on here with her stories. Now we cut to the other group, and Kelly says to Elizabeth, "Emily and Gina don't think you're telling the whole story about your stuff." Elizabeth claims that it's all because she's not allowed to say everything she wants to say because she's under a gag order with this divorce. Back to the hikers, Gina's like, and she's gonna buy a Ferrari and then donate it to charity? It loses its value the minute you drive it off the lot, so I don't understand that. I'm sure the charity would prefer a check. Yeah, she's right. I don't know what all that was either, but I'm not super wealthy, so maybe there's some sort of a tax break if it's a gift and not cash, or what do I know? Back at the Frey house, Kelly goes on to say, they think all you care about is money. And, Elizabeth starts to say, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. Then Braunwyn even said, yeah, you should stop talking about money so much. And she goes, is it annoying? And they both kind of tell her, yeah, it is, basically. Back to the hikers, Emily and Gina tell Shannon, they've moved on to Braunwyn now. They tell her that they went to AA with Braunwyn that morning, and Shannon almost seems like she feels like she was left out of something. I mean, Shannon, First of all, you were probably super hungover. Secondly, this was like at the crack of dawn. So be grateful that they didn't ask you to come. But she did look a little put out when she's like, oh, you went this morning? Both of you? You both went? Oh, okay. You know, it was a little bit like, oh, nobody asked me to go to AA. Emily's like, yeah, I wanted to support her. And Gina, I mean, you did a real 180. Well, she said 360, but she meant 180. You did a real 180 with Braunwyn. And Gina goes, yeah, you know, she got into my heart. And once somebody does that... No, she didn't get like that. But she said once somebody does that, she's loyal to them forever. Side note, one of you guys out there told me that none of the cast members are speaking to Braunwyn right now. Stopped following her on social media and all that. Not sure why. You know, something must have happened. Also, side note, is this a good time to bring up that Braunwyn has just come out as a lesbian? I'm pretty sure you all saw it. Many of you sent the article to me. Thank you so much because, you know, I don't know anything. I am always the last to find out about certain things. I don't spend too much time, like, investigating. I follow some of the Housewives on Instagram and Twitter, not all of them. And in any case, you guys told me before I saw it for myself. I find it interesting. I have a lot of thoughts about it that are kind of, you know, if I'm being honest, a little conflicting in my brain. First thought, gut reaction, I'm very happy for her. I would be happy for anybody who finally feels comfortable enough to be honest about who they are and to not feel like they need to hide themselves. That just kills me, that anybody would feel like their true self isn't something that they can share because maybe they'll be ostracized or maybe they will lose friends or whatever. That kills me. So gut reaction, I'm super happy for her. Then as I think more about it and I learn that Sean supports her 100%, they are staying together and they're staying married, then my second thought turns to, okay, she didn't say she was bisexual. She said she was a lesbian. That means she is not sexually attracted to Sean. I do believe she said Sean is her soulmate, but she was never attracted to him in that way. So now I start to get these feelings like, is that fair to Sean? Wouldn't your husband deserve to be in a relationship with somebody who is totally into him and wanting him? I mean, everybody deserves that they are the desire of the person that they are sharing their life with and that they've created a family with, right? So then it takes me to my third thought, which is, I know a lot of you think that this was sort of just an arrangement all along, that either Sean has been seeing people outside the marriage anyway, that they just have an open marriage and they always have, or Sean himself might be gay. And then I think where I finally settled with all of this is it's not for me to define. It's not for me to understand. It's their relationship. If it works for them, why do I have to put it in a little box that makes sense to my brain? And the answer is I don't. So that's kind of where I ended up. I'm curious what you guys think. Back to the show. We learned that Shannon and Elizabeth went out after the vow renewal. I don't know where they went, a club, a bar, something. And according to Shannon, as she tells Emily and Gina, oh, we had a really good time. Yeah, it was fun. According to Elizabeth, as she tells Kelly and Braunwyn, Shannon went off on Jimmy. And they're like, what? Yeah. She's like, I don't like you, or I can't remember what she said. But, you know, Shannon was several sheets to the wind the night before. So Shannon may not realize that they didn't have a good time. But Braunwyn and Kelly both tell Elizabeth that, yeah, Shannon gets like that when she's drunk. And Elizabeth said, oh, well, it's not very nice. Next, we are getting another glimpse at the news, so I know this is going to be fun. More coronavirus stuff. The news anchor person said, coronavirus has entered a devastating new phase. And then we see the numbers on the screen. And these numbers are worldwide: 126,000 cases, 4,600 deaths across 116 countries. So I just looked this up, and at the time of my filming in the United States alone, there are 14.2 million cases of COVID-19 and 276,000 deaths. If the numbers on the TV screen back then were considered to be a devastating new phase, what would you call this? And when we get those coronavirus numbers, and then we cut immediately to Gina and Travis playing tennis with another couple, and Gina's like, I've got these rashes all over my body. I think it's just stress. I'm thinking, oh God. Just wait. She starts, I'm not even sure what this scene was about, other than to show us that she is defending Matt as being a good dad and everything, and Travis is just kind of like there listening. It's got to be killing Travis, knowing what a piece of crap Matt is. But, I think he's doing the right thing by just kind of like being supportive and understanding that Gina's got to work her way through this whole thing, I think. Next, we are with Braunwyn, and she is in a therapy session. This is the first session, I guess, because the therapist is asking her questions about herself, and she tells her that she has been with Sean since she was 18 years old, and so she's never had adult responsibilities. She started drinking at age 14. She tells us she was a very insecure child, and drinking relieved her anxiety. She tells us a little bit later in the show that drinking was never about feeling drunk. It was always about tamping down the anxiety. We learned that when Braunwyn was 30 years old, they moved to Washington, D.C., and there it got really bad. She said she was drunk from the minute she woke up until she went to bed. She had a miscarriage. She got very depressed. She started taking Xanax and drinking. And at one point, she spent 5 days in the closet. She doesn't remember that. She blacked out. She wanted to die. She thought that would be best for everyone in the family. Jacob was like at 4 years old at that time, so she probably only had Jacob, Rowan, and Bella. She said she couldn't hug the kids because her hands were shaking so much. It was hard hearing the story, you guys. I have so much empathy for her, and I know she's flawed. She's got a lot of problems, and there's a lot of things about Braunwyn I don't like, but I can't help but feel for her when she tells us all these things. It's heartbreaking to me. She praises Sean. She said he's so normal. He was like the most normal thing in her life. Probably, yeah, because she's got Dr. Deb as her mother and, Mama Joe. Did she live with Mama Joe? I think she might have. Anyway, I just feel like it was a little unstable, her childhood, and it doesn't surprise me that she needed something to help with anxiety, unfortunately. Anyway, she tells us that Sean is now going to Al-Anon. She recognizes that they are in a codependent relationship and that he enables her. She says she hates that, but she also recognizes that she has a lot of responsibility too. Next, we are at a bridal shop with Shannon and Sophie. Is Shannon getting married? No. Is Sophie? Mm-mm. Sophie is getting ready for her debutante ball. Is that still a thing? I mean, I guess it is among the wealthy. Shannon tells us that her mother was a Deb and her grandmother was a Deb. Shannon, however, was not. Shannon was a surfer chick. But Sophie is carrying on the family tradition. And in Sophie's confessional, she tells us that she hopes that one day her daughter will be a debutante. Yeah. Sophie is definitely a little like Stepford child. Not Stella, but Sophie for sure. Anyway, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of rules for the dress. Can't be strapless, can't have too much lace, can't have flowers on it for some reason. I don't know. Oh, and it has to be white. Yes. Pure as the driven snow. Can't be ivory. Can't be off-white. Can't be beige. Shannon asks Sophie, do you think that the ball will be postponed because of coronavirus? And Sophie's like, I don't know, probably. The end of my senior year really sucks. Yeah, she's not wrong. Now we're with Braunwyn and Jacob. She's taking him to a beauty bar to have his makeup done. And I guess he's learning how to do makeup too, because, again, I think this is so dumb. Buy him makeup, let him experiment with it, let him get good at it. But, like, I don't know. It's not dumb. It's just, this is what rich people do, I guess. And I can't relate. Unless it is that this woman is teaching him about how to apply makeup and stuff. So then in that case, I guess it makes sense. And then in a little case of foreshadowing, Braunwyn is telling Jacob how proud she is of him and that when I was your age, I would not have been secure enough to do something like this. Yeah, she said, I just wanted to be like everybody else. Oh, God. Doesn't it kill you knowing that she finally, at age 42, came out as a lesbian? It's heartbreaking. Braunwyn is killing me this season. Yeah, I love her vulnerability. There's a lot that I appreciate about her this season. What can I say? Side note, she is trying so hard to be supportive, I think. But her inner Dr. Deb, guys, we cannot get away from being our mothers. This is a prime example. You know what you grew up with. And to do something different takes a lot of work. Braunwyn needs to try and fight that critical eye of her mother. At one point, that the makeup artist is putting foundation on, and she said this has something in it, like medication in it for acne. So it does double duty here, and it's also a concealer. And Braunwyn said, oh, that's good. Jacob, you should wear that every day. I'm sorry, Braunwyn. Was that not a little bit like, your friends won't hang around with you sober because you're not as much fun? I mean, do you not see the correlation there? Then we see this photo shoot of Jacob in his makeup and Braunwyn in hers, like the two of them together. And I'm sorry, this is so over the top and everything, but I am obsessed about this picture with just their two eyes. Oh, it is amazing. I would love to do something like that with my daughter, maybe when she comes home for Christmas. Check my Instagram feed. You may just see our eyes. Now we have a scene with Elizabeth. She's going to a gym, working out with a trainer, and in spite of being told to stop talking about money, we learn that she has had to come up with $2 million of her own money for this divorce trial so far. After her workout, she calls her mom on FaceTime and complains about all the other women not wanting her to talk about her divorce. I thought you couldn't talk about your divorce, Elizabeth. I don't get it. I think it's like Gina said. I told you guys Gina was the voice of reason, but it was like she said in her confessional, for someone who can't talk about her divorce, that's all she talks about. I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of her storyline, and it's weird that her storyline is a subject that she can't talk about. Her mom said, well, they won't understand because it's in the 1%. Her divorce? Well, yeah, I mean, probably. to be honest, yeah, her divorce would be in the 1%. Next, we're at Shannon's house. Her dining room table is filled with coronavirus supplies. Oh, no, wait. First, she's talking to the girls. They're talking about the virus, and Stella said, well, Adeline and Sophie and I still want to go to Dad's on Sunday. And if it gets bad, we'll just come back here. And Shannon's getting upset because Shannon is compromised. She's got, I don't remember what it was called, but it's like scarring on both of her lungs. So she has a respiratory issue. And of course, we know this virus attacks the respiratory system. So she kind of gets mad at Stella and she's like, that's not fair. You can't come back here. I mean, they're going to Clipper games and everything. And Stella's like, what are you talking about? There are no games. Everything's shut down. But Shannon goes, if you get sick or if you even feel like you're sick, you can't come here. And she goes, I know. Before we see all the supplies on Shannon's table, we get sort of a meat montage. It's everybody talking about how they can't get meat. Costco doesn't have any chicken. We see Gina and Emily at an Italian market. Gina tells Emily, Shannon called me all freaking out about coronavirus. Then we cut back to Shannon. That's when we see all the supplies on her table. And this is funny. She picks up a pack of wipes and she goes, Sophie, did you buy these? Sophie's like, yeah, I ordered those. And Shannon goes, these are just baby wipes. They're not antibacterial. It's funny, except it isn't funny because you couldn't buy wipes anywhere. Back at the Italian market, Emily said to Gina, I dropped off the twins at school. There were only like 5 kids there, the whole place. She goes, I don't know if I should be sending my kids to school or not. We cut to Kelly's house. She's on the phone with a friend talking about coronavirus and not being able to buy things in the store. Kelly's obsessed with not being able to get toilet paper. In her confessional, she compares getting toilet paper to getting a Birkin bag. You have to get on a list. I mean, we didn't have toilet paper lists you could get on. Then her positive beverage partner comes over and he's talking about how they were about to hire someone. And he said, I don't think we should do it until things open up again because we need to scale back with this coronavirus. I was thinking at least they were in Targets because during coronavirus, with Target being one of the few places open like that, I would think their business would even get better, but I don't know, maybe not. Then Shannon calls while he's there, and she's got Shannon on speakerphone, and Shannon's scared and everything. And Kelly's like, it's the flu. And Shannon goes, well, I've got this scarring on my lungs, and I don't mean to make it about me, but I am scared. Later, Kelly's like, of course she wants to make it about her. Gina calls her mom in New York. They're talking about it. Gina's like, the kids' school is closed for a month. Oh, Gina, just wait. It's almost like, oh, how innocent you were to think that the school would just be closed for a month. But also, like I said before, I do get a little of this PTSD because it's it kills me that they don't even know what's about to come. In her confession camp, she goes, 1,700 square feet just got a whole lot smaller with the kids home all day. She tells her mom, I don't know what we're going to do in this little house with 6 kids. This is funny. Her mom goes, oh, you just might have to, what's the word? And Gina goes, sell them? Guys, the silver lining to this season is that I am liking Gina so much this year. Finally, we're at Braunwyn's house. And the thing is, everybody is having this coronavirus kind of dawn on them. It's all starting to hit people. Rowan is getting scared, and she said, not so much for me, but for the older people in my life. And running out of food, probably not going to have a prom. And Sean goes, well, maybe the school will have something at the end of the year. Braunwyn, just stop, Sean. Oh, excuse me. Sean goes, what, stop my optimism? And she goes, you've been doing this for 2 weeks. I've been telling you everything I said would happen is happening. So let's not do this false hope thing, especially to her. I mean, listen, I get that Sean is a sweeper under the rugger kind of a person. And maybe that's irritating to Braunwyn. And yes, Braunwyn is still in the early days of being sober, and perhaps her tolerance level is low. I don't know, but it would just be hard to be around her, I think. It was pretty harsh. She tells him, you don't need to fix this, Sean. You just need to listen. And I get that too, because that's very hard for some people. He doesn't want his daughter to feel anxious. He doesn't want her in pain or to feel sad, or he's her dad. I get it. I do. I get it. But also, Braunwyn's right. Sometimes the way to help them is to just listen. So Braunwyn is 42 days sober. There's a bottle of tequila in the cabinet right behind her. They find another one in somewhere else, and they start dumping all the tequila out. She said, I thought I would be able to handle the one bottle being there, but I don't think I can. I don't know how I'm going to do this, being stuck in the house and all that. She's also worried because like a big AA meeting got canceled, but then she went to this other smaller meeting in the morning. And then she even suggests that Rowan go to that meeting with her the next day. She said it's really nice and sweet. There's a lot of like grandparents in that morning meeting. Thinks it could help her anxiety and her OCD. Sean is sort of just piggybacking on what Braunwyn is saying, and he goes, yeah, Rowan, maybe it would be good. There are like grandmas and grandpas there. And then Braunwyn, nobody is letting me talk. Oh, okay. She's like, okay, what is it, Sean? What did you want to share? And Sean's like, nothing. I just want to hear your story. God. Yeah. Sean, you're a saint. So she starts to say that she was telling them at the group that it was like a gift that she got sober at a time when all these people were around her. I think she means like the cameras watching and stuff. I think she is referring to it being sort of like keeping her honest in a way, having a camera watch her every move and she can't really sneak alcohol, and that was almost a gift. But being home for the next months with 9 kids kind of scares me. 9? When did she get 2 more kids? Is there someone else living there with them? I'm confused. She did say 9, though. Maybe she doesn't remember how many she has. So anyway, she said, being bored is the worst thing for me. Side note, all I'm thinking to myself is, how the hell do you have time to be bored with 7 kids? Or 9, as you seem to think you have. I mean, wouldn't you be so constantly busy from morning till night? I don't know. I mean, maybe if you have help. Are you going to have help during coronavirus? I'm not sure. Unless they live there. Maybe those are the other 2 kids she's referring to. Her nannies. Anyway, now the screen turns black and we see on March 14th, 2020, production of season 15 came to an immediate halt. Then we see each of the ladies in like a Zoom call separately, but like with the executive producer, Thomas Kelly, and he's telling them, I don't know when we'll be back. Might be a month or 2. I can't tell you. And that's the end of the episode. So then it's like we get these mid-season previews for what's going to happen the whole second half. I'm not sure if they were filming themselves for a while there, and then when things opened back up again, they started to film together, because there's a whole lot more with them together. Scenes where they're like sitting and they're supposed to be sitting 6 feet apart from each other. There's one where they're like cooking together, but they have masks on. There's a scene at the beach, stuff like that. There's a whole lot more to this season, and I will be here to recap it all. Thank you so much for joining me. Wear a mask. Stay safe. I love you guys. Give this video a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I want to know what all your thoughts are, and I will see you next time. Bye.